going on, y'all? This is Elijah from the Sinners Only podcast here, and we are back this Sunday. And in our journey to get canceled, we will be coming with heavier topics, and I figured I'd only start us off with a little teaser. I didn't inform Chad and Josh about this, and so I hope they don't put me on podcast discipline, but I have a question. Christian hip-hop and music in general has a problem, and it's not the artist. I think it's the fans. Now, before y'all really cancel me, since I came to know Christ, I've been a fan of all sorts of artists in the space. Shai Lin, Timothy Brindle, Aha Gazelle, No Big Deal, KB, Tripley, Indie Tribe, Paris Chariz, and many, many more artists. And all of these artists have a myriad of different gifts and talents that they bring to the table with different flows and styles that honestly are life-giving to a wide range of audiences. And to be honest, in my own personal opinion, CHH is better than it's ever been before. Now, you have those fans that get really uptight that artists don't mention Jesus in their songs like 200 times, or that they don't quote scripture or whatever, but instead you'll have rappers and artists that talk about their life and what they've been through, and the Christian essence of the gospel weaves into those verses that they spit. I say essence of the gospel, I'm meaning like different parts of your life that the gospel has touched, and those artists talk about that in their stories and in their verses and things like that. Some people get upset when Jesus isn't overtly mentioned, but I want to ask you something. Fan of an art that you can't do. When you're on the job, do you overtly mention the gospel in every single situation you do? In your personal life, is every single instance of your person mentioning the gospel? Or is the way you live, your personal life, the way you act, care for others, love others, come from a knowing of Christ and what he's done for you? But you don't outrightly share the gospel, but you pray for opportunities. I think, in my own personal opinion, this is what artists do, and I think that's okay. You can disagree, and that's fine, but one thing the fan gets wrong is thinking that they know an artist personally off of their music, and if they're just one song that doesn't overtly mention Christ, we think they've sold out and left the faith. But what if they're expressing their gift and enjoying their craft? What if in your attempt of thinking an artist has sold out, they are really pressing into the relationship with Christ, loving those around them, serving their church, loving their wives? We as fans don't know what's going on behind the scenes because we're just consumers. And I think too often we want these artists to be our pastors and our shepherds for us, that we don't consider that we already have access to real life shepherds in our local churches. At least I hope. At least hoping that you're pressed into biblical community. Like, we want to nitpick everything about our favorite artists, and when they slip up or do something we don't like, you don't think they're following Jesus anymore. That's weird. Like, what if your life was documented? What if you were a public creator like them? What if you were a public figure and the camera was on you 24/7? Would it be fair for someone to discredit you if you mess up once or don't talk about Jesus for one day on a job? I don't think so. When it comes to music artists, Christian artists, even content creators, that we need to show them a little bit more grace. I think we need to show them a little bit more and I think one thing that we need to realize is that they are creators, and they're not like a one size fits all. Like, they change, and I think it's okay for artists to change over a period of time. I'm going to say something probably the most controversial of this video, is that I even think that if a Christian artist wants to leave the space and just go into other things, that's okay. I think that's okay for them to switch up. Not necessarily like, I don't, in hoping that they are still holding to Christ, that they're not rapping about debauchery and things like that, but more so that they just say, hey, I'm going to just pivot and do something else. Probably rapping this, probably still talking about the same things or whatever, but they want to be in a different audience, whatever. And I think one of the things that is hard too is that if there is a person that is a Christian and they are a gifted rapper and they mention Christ in their songs like at least one time, I think they're automatically considered being CHH, which I don't think that's the case at all. I think, and I think for us as Christians, we are so we're willing to accept anybody, where it's like we have Chance the Rapper or like Kanye West or whatever, that if they mention Christ or they're publicly proclaiming Christ already, we automatically want to put them in this bubble or this box of CHH, instead of telling them like, hey, no, you stay where you are. Like, be a minister, be a light in the place that you are, because I think that's what's needed. I think all too often, especially for like, I'm thinking just every like content creator, that we want to, Christians want to keep this light that they have, like this, of people to themselves, without realizing that the Great Commission, Jesus calls us to go out, right? So let's keep it a buck. If someone wants to branch out into different spaces, I don't think it's a big deal that they want to go somewhere else. Now, granted, if someone switches up like crazy, then like, we're like, oh dang, I think there's some questions to be asked or whatever. But it's also considering that we don't know them. So anyway, that's just a quick thought before the Sunday. I hope it gets us canceled before the pod even starts, and hopefully you see me on it. Hopefully I don't touch podcast discipline. Catch you later.